What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys doing? Hope everything finds you gentlemen well, as it does and always will and should. This is Roland here, give you the Week 8 recap. There's a lot to tell, there's some stories to tell. So we're going to jump right into it, make this quick. We got Miguel versus Dan. Miguel scored 111, Dan scored 120. Let's talk about how those trades paid off, or did it, perhaps. It was a pretty even game. You had DJ Moore, he had 7.5. That Thursday night game, he had his only 2 catches come in the fourth quarter. I watched that game. In my opinion, they should have used him a little bit more. Because they didn't, it spelled their doom. But Miguel's doom not only for fantasy, but for the Carolina Panthers as well in the game. Gio Bernard did a great job making the best of his opportunity with Joe Mixon being out. He had 22 points. On Dan's end, you guys got some trouble over there, even though it was in victory. You got Zeke with 8.3 points. You have to question, do you play Cowboys players in this time right now? I have a Cowboy player. I know Sacco has one. I know Teray has one. Listen, we really got to question, are Cowboys players viable options with Dak out, Dalton out? Their defense is in shambles. It's a shit show. Another big loss for Dan. You got George Kittle. Mr. Everything for the 49ers, especially knowing Garoppolo out, Mostert out, Deebo Samuel, and so many others. He's out now too, and that's going to be a good long 8 weeks. So basically, see you later for the season, George Kittle, unless Dan makes it all the way to the finals, and then we'll see what happens there. But he is going to get Nick Chubb back in Week 10. So hopefully that bodes well for him. Next game, you got Phil Sobel, and Russ. Sobel had 89. Russ turned in 116. Russ has been on a tear these past so many weeks. We had Mahomes, 36. You had Kelsey with 24. You had Alvin Kamara with 25 points. What was more interesting about that game is even his bench was on a tear. Russ won that game and left 60 points on the bench. Amazing. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. It's something to see. Sobel, probably one of the reasons why he lost. He started Carson Wentz. He's trash. I think he's going to end up getting benched. They should probably start Jalen Hurts. Ask Steve how that's looking over there in Philly. Tyreek balled out for him. He had 25 points. That's the best performance on his team this week. But who doesn't ball out versus the Jets? He did also have 19 points left on the bench. Not that it would have made a difference, but he left 19 points on the bench with Travis Fulgham. And he probably would have started him, except he was trying to figure out which one of his 6 running backs that he's hoarding on his team to start. I don't know about you guys, but I think something's got to be done about this. You got 6 running backs. We don't even got 2 flex positions. I don't know what's going on, Commish. This is something that we're going to have to come to terms with in this next upcoming meeting this next year. Next game was Steve versus Teray. Steve had 140. Teray had 93. Steve is, again, another person that's been on a tear. That game between these 2 guys was pretty close until DK Metcalf, whom Stephen A. Smith has touted as the next Megatron. I don't know about that, even in terms of the size but he turned out 40 points. He had another rookie on the Buffalo Bills, Zach Moss. He turned out 20 points. So again, are they going with that 2-headed monster over there in Buffalo? Something to look out for. And Julio Jones looks like he's getting back to full form from that hamstring injury. He had 20 points himself, no touchdown. So, that score could have been a lot higher versus Teray. Teray had 93 points. He had Matthew Stafford with 22. He had pretty low scores after that. His highest two scores after that were Josh Jacobs with 12, T.J. Hawkinson with 13. Ridley also got hurt on Thursday night, so we wonder if he's going to be playing this upcoming week. One thing I will say about in terms of Cowboy players, I guess Michael Gallup, who has receded down to that third, kind of fourth guy, he must have got some work in with the backup because he was the only Cowboys player that actually showed up this past week. And this week, let's not forget, AB, Antonio Brown, is coming back to the league after a long hiatus. If Teray wants to know, do you start him? The answer is yes. You must start this man. Him and Brady had something special. You should know that. You're a Patriots guy. When he was there, it was working. On to the next one. You had Sackle and Frankie. Again, something that was a pretty tight game for a little while there. Sackle had 84. Frankie ended up with 117. I warned everybody a few weeks back about Mike Gesicki. I'm not sure if Sackle got the message, but I told you, not just a sleeper, but you need to snore on him. You need some extra Z's. He is not the guy. He had 1.8 points. Another person who didn't bode well for Sackle was Nelson Aguilar. He had 0 points. Lev Bell, you've been holding on to him for quite some time now. I'll be honest with you, I thought for sure Andy Reid would get him more involved and he would definitely show up and maybe have at least a touchdown versus his old team. But maybe it's that hamstring still hurting him. Who knows? Then you got Frankie. He had that 117. His biggest show up was Philadelphia's defense, but it was versus the Dallas Cowboys, who again we talked about is in shambles. After that, he had Jamal Williams with 18 points. My other question is Michael Thomas ever going to play for Frankie? At this point in time, he's more of a hindrance than a help. You're holding on to him. I know this trade deadline just passed. You might have been better off, getting rid of him. The other question that I have for Frankie is, you understand that we question your team name and what it was for years. I scoured your bench to see, what other players you had. And I was surprised to see you have 3 quarterbacks on your team. You're the only player to be carrying 3 quarterbacks. I don't know why. Frankie, get your shit together. And then the last game was Kyle versus myself. Kyle had 88 points. I turned out 146. Obviously the highest, which has got me the recap. Tyler Boyd for Kyle turned out 19. Gronkowski turned out another decent performance in terms of for tight end. He's obviously not a top tier tight end as he once was, but it's clear to see that after those first 5-6 weeks, it's like his body's gotten back to football shape and football form. Him and Brady still have some semblance of a connection. The fact that Antonio Brown is coming back to that team, that gives another target, and I think it frees up Gronkowski, so I do see some good numbers in his future. Mike Williams was on your bench, not that it mattered, with the 21 points. And then for myself, Dalvin Cook, highest point getter. He had 48 points, doing it all against the Packers. You got Cooper Kupp on my team also finally came alive. I was wondering where he was. He was gone for quite some time. He's still inconsistent, but hoping we can build off of that for this next coming week. And again, Amari Cooper and any Dallas Cowboy player, you have to question, do you start these individuals, especially if you have a wide receiver? You just don't know right now. It's unfortunate. But again, hope everybody's doing great. I'm going to turn it over to my man with the fro, your bro, Teray, and he's going to start you off with next week's rivalries.
Hello everyone, Negro Damas here, aka Terrain Motherfucking Surgeon. So let's get down to brass tacks. Who are the top dogs, who is in the middle of the pack, and who's at the bottom of the barrel? Top dogs, as of right now, Steven Kaczynski, 6-2 record. This shit, 2020 is a crazy year. Then you have Russell, aka Big Cat, 6-2, looking dominant. Sacco coming in third with a 5-3 record. And then we get to the middle of the pack. We have 5 teams with a 4-4 record. Can you believe that? Top dog in that position is the big man named Roland himself. Next up is Dan, the evil Dan. Then we have Sacco's second team, Phil Sobel. And of course, yours truly, Mr. Surgeon. Follow that pack. Last one in that 4-4 record is Kyle McNuts. How'd you get there? I thought we put you down. You know what? Kudos to you, sir. And then the people who we think about the least. Frankie Fame with a 2-6 record. Frank, 2-6. And Miguel, I don't know what happened, but 1-7. I don't think I've ever seen you with that record before. That's obviously your worst season. Maybe we need to check the history books. It might be one that's worse than that, but we'll check it out later. But speaking of our next week or week 9 matchups, big business is moving right now because you have Roland battling the evil Steven Kaczynski. You have Frankie Fame going against McNuts. You have Miguel versus Sobel. Dan versus me. And I honestly cherish these moments because I try my damnedest to beat this man. I don't care what I gotta do. I don't care who I gotta buy stuff from. I gotta get this W this week. And last but not least, you have Sacco versus Russell, aka battle for the Chopin Bowl. They live in Chopin or Cove? No, they live in Cove. Battle for the Cove Bowl. We'll see what happens this week, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to bring back in the guy who got all the points this week. Back to you, Roland.
So now, again, my friends, it's time to wrap this up. We see what we have going this week. We understand the implications. We see the parity in the league right now. There's certain things I like about it, certain things I'm not liking about it. But I said it before and I'll say it again. Whoever wins this year during COVID, with all the things that we see going on and transpiring, all the alterations we all have to make with our teams, my friends, whoever it is, hopefully it's me, but whoever it is, you absolutely deserve it. I want to thank my good friend Negro Damas. Love, peace, and hair grease. And for the rest of you fellas out there, have a good night.